What is going on, fellas? Welcome to Debit Credit Nation. So guys, are you an FICO consultant but you cannot stand out with the huge competition that is in the SAP world as an FICO consultant, or you are a FICA consultant but you are working as an end user or like a BPS resource or like a tester? Even if you are a FICA consultant but still you are just monitoring the batch, running jobs but not doing the actual consultancy work but working as a support agent, then this video is for you. As many of you already know that I run FICA tutorial videos, I provide FICA tuition, FICA batches, and I help associates understand FICA in and out or how to implement SAP FICA from scratch. So let me show you my syllabus. So this is my existing syllabus for the batch 2023. This is what I am doing right now. So as you can see that this is the batch. Now I learned from my existing batches and I realized that if an important topic is missed out, I plug in that particular topic in my course content so that in my future batches those topics can be incorporated. Like recently I realized that we should introduce the BRIM data model, that I did, and also the point number, if I scroll down, so here point number 19, there is a difference between BRIM FICA versus ISU FICA, also I added last time. In my current batch I realized that I should introduce the taxation, so that's why I have added FICA taxation, and this video I am going to talk about FICA taxation. So all about FICA taxation I am going to talk about. I'm not going to talk about the backend config, how these are configured in the backend, but the end user part of it I'm going to show you. If you want to learn the entire batch, you can join my batch. My next batch is going to start from 1st April. So it's a 2 months course. I run it on the weekends, so Saturday, Sunday, 2 hours each, and it runs for around 34 hours. So let's talk about FICA taxation. With that, I'll go back to my SAP screen. So this is a BRIM system and this is a BRIM 2022 system. So if I open the product version, I can see that it is SAP S/4HANA on-prem 2022, the latest BRIM version. So here I am going to show you the taxation. So in taxation I am going to show you two things. So as you see that I am going to talk about output tax, and after that I am going to talk about withholding tax, which is also known as TDS in India. So let's talk about output tax. What is an output tax? So whenever we sell something, the tax that we collect from the customer that we need to pay to the government is called output tax. Similarly, when we purchase something, we have to pay taxes, that is called input tax. So since FICA we mostly use for accounts receivable, I am going to talk about output tax. FICA can also be used for accounts payable. There the company has to use input tax, but here I am going to talk about output tax. So let's post a document first. So I'm not talking about any invoices which flows from upstream, that is which is flowing from BRIM CI system or from the ISU invoicing. Let's talk about plain FPE1 invoice. So go to the T code FPE1, and this is my input screen. So I'll put document type, currency, and I will hit enter. Let's post a document. Okay, so recon key, it has been created. Now let me post a simple document: business partner, company code, contract account, main transaction. So I'm going to post 2 line item in this document. Okay, so main transaction is 2409, sub transaction is 10, and amount say 20, and one more line item I'm going to post. So business partner, again company code, contract account, main transaction, this time I am going to use 2410, sub transaction same, and say amount is say $30, and I hit enter. Okay, now I am going to hit save, and let's see how does the line items behave separately. So the document is posted. I go to document and display document. So here I see 2 line items are posted. Okay, let's double click on the first line item and go to the tax data. So for the first line item I see an output tax 01 is populated. Okay, and let's go to the second line item, I see nothing. Okay, so I have configured the output tax at the main or sub transaction level. That means if I go to my first entry, which is using main transaction 2409, if I use main transaction 2409, then the tax code is being populated, but if I use the main transaction 2410, then you see there is no tax code. Similarly, I go to the GL item. Here I can see that the tax amount is posted 0.77. If I double click, it will tell me that it is posted on 19.23. Where is 19.23? So I understand my tax rate is 4% tax percentage, but the tax base amount is used as 19.23. Now how does this 19.23 come into the picture? Let's go back to the overview screen. So I see I have posted one $20 and one $30. Obviously for the $30 no tax is charged, because against this main transaction I did not configure any tax. But against this $20, 4% tax is charged, but this tax is inclusive. That means this 4% tax is not charged on $20, but it has reduced 0.77, and on the balance it has charged the tax. So this is called inclusive tax. I am going to show you exclusive tax right away, but let us understand what is the inclusive tax. That means the customer needs to pay $20 and $30. So whatever tax amounts are there, it is already included. So the customer's receivable does not exceed $20. This is inclusive tax. So in the second line there is no tax at all, and in the first line there is a 4% tax, but the tax is inclusive. Okay. Alright, so this document is posted. Now I am going to post one more document, but this time I am going to show you an exclusive one. So I come back, I go back to my post document initial screen. Here I am going to post only one line item, because you understood the difference between with tax and without tax already. So I am going to show you with tax, but this time I am going to click on this net receivable. Okay, let us appreciate the difference right now. So here I will put the document type, same document type, and I hit enter. Then my business partner, company code, contract account, main transaction 2409, this main transaction attracts the taxes, sub transaction 10. Similar to last time, I am also putting $20 as my amount. Okay. Now simply I am clicking on save. Now go to document and click on display. See, this time that tax amount is 0.8, which is 20 into 4%. If I double click, I see my tax base amount is 20, but this time that receivable amount of the customer becomes 20.80. That means the tax amount is exclusive of the invoice. That means now the customer has to pay 20.80. Previously, when I did not check that net tax button, previously the customer's net balance was $20, but here the customer's net receivable becomes 20.80. That means this tax is charged over and above the normal invoice amount. This is the difference between output tax, inclusive or exclusive. Okay. So this is mainly how the taxes are calculated, and if you want to see the tax, then you can go to the table DFKK OPK. Click on DFKK OPK table and enter the document number. Let's enter both the document number. I think my previous document number was 09, if I am not mistaken. So 009 I am going to enter. Let's see the two document numbers. So these are the two document numbers, and the tax details are shown here. So this is one tax line item and this is the other tax line item. Okay. So these tax details can be shown only in DFKK OPK. If you open DFKK OP, the tax items will not be shown, because DFKK OP talks about BP line item, not the GL line item, and this is a GL line item. So previously $0.77 was charged as tax, and now 0.80, and this here you can see the tax base amount as well. If I go further right, you see previously 19.23 was used as the tax base amount, but this time $20 is being used as the tax base amount, and also the GLs can be seen from here. So both the time 22 series GL was used. Now let's close and transfer the reconciliation key. Alright, so let's go back to the document. So both the recon key, both the documents were posted using the same recon key. So slash show fpg4. First I am going to close the reconciliation key. So let's close it first. So I am getting an error. I am going to, have I opened it in any screen? Okay, let me do sm12 slash o sm12. So you will see a difference between the 1909 version and 2022 version. So I'll have my log argument here, and when I hit search, the output is shown in the same screen. See, you can see the output in the same screen. So select and unlock the reconciliation key. Okay, now I am going to close the reconciliation key. So the recon key is closed. Now I am going to transfer the recon key. Slash n fpg1 is the T code. Enter the recon key. Then I am going to transfer with update run. Okay, no test run. Now F8. So it is yellow. Click the refresh button. Now the FICA posting, the subledger posting has moved to GL. So you can see the content of the recon key. So copy the recon key slash n, go to FPF3. You can check it from here or and hit enter, or what you can do, you can go back to the FICA document and double click on the recon key from here. Here as well it will take you to FPF3 screen. Once you go to FPF3 screen, click on the total records, it will tell you. So there are 3 GLs involved. So this is the receivable GL, this is the sales revenue GL, and this is the tax GL. Okay, so how much is the tax amount? So 0.77 plus 0.8, which is 1.57 the total amount. And also if you want to see the document, click on the document flow to general ledger. One FI document and one controlling document is created. Let's double click on the FI document. Here I can see that tax amounts are clubbed, but the receivables, the income amounts are separated and the receivable amounts are separated. Also if you want to see what is my total tax line item, go to slash o fbl 3n, which is a GL line item, and here you can run with the company code with all items and hit F8. All the items which were posted and transferred to FICO will be shown here. So this is the total balance of the receivable GL, that is the balance sheet AR receivable GL, in which we have 230.40, sales tax GL 5.98. This is the total sales tax liability. So that means the company has collected 5.98 or the company has actually accrued 5.98 sales tax. Once the taxes are received, they have to pay back to the government. Okay, so this is all about output tax, only the end user activity, not the backend config. Again, if you want to learn the backend config not only for tax but for the entire FICA, the syllabus I was talking about, entire 35-hour batch, you can join the batch. You can WhatsApp me in the number which is mentioned in the below of your screen. Now next I am going to talk about withholding tax. So for withholding tax I am going to use an ECC system. Let's come out of the S4 system and let's see withholding tax in ECC system. Okay, so this is an ECC system. Same way I am going to post one document with 2 line item. Okay, so FPE1, let's I want to backdate this document because I am going to run payment run via which I am going to clear, or rather I am going to refund the this payment. So this is for accounts payable. So withholding tax, first of all let me tell you what is the withholding tax. Suppose there are some accounts payable and suppose you need to pay your vendor $100, but while paying your vendor, the government says that you have to withhold certain amount. Say you are going to withhold $10 with you and you are going to pay $90 to the vendor. The $10 that you withhold with you is nothing but the withholding tax, and you need to pay the withholding tax to the department, to the government within a stipulated time. In India, the withholding tax payment or the TDS payment date is the 7th of the next month. So right now it is March, so whatever total amount of withholding tax is collected for the March, or whatever the total withholding tax amount is deducted for the month of March, the same needs to be deposited with the government by 7th of April, that is 7th of the next month. Okay, so that is the concept. Now let's understand. So here I'm going to post an accounts payable invoice, that is a vendor invoice. All right, and after posting the invoice, I'm going to post outgoing payment. Okay, so let's first post the vendor invoice. So let's backdate this posting. So I'll call it 0401. So 4th of January I'm going to post this invoice, and again I'm going to use two line item. So business partner, contract account, company code, contract account, main transaction. So again two main and sub transaction I'm going to use to show you the difference. So say I'm going to post a $50 line item this time, and again on the same contract account, but this time with a different main transaction. Okay, and this time say a $60 outgoing invoice, I mean accounts payable invoice. Okay, now I'm going to save it. Now let's understand the difference. So click on document and click on display. So see, this is the entry, that means this is accounts payable entry. So my entry is vendor account credit. So I should have used a separate GL. I am using the same sales revenue GL which we use in the AR side, but anyways just ignore this text. So this is my accounting entry. Now double click on the first line item and go to the tax data, and below we have a segment called miscellaneous tax. There I can see that withholding tax 01 is being used. Okay, and the tax base amount is 50. Now let's go to the second line item. You see that segment is ignored altogether. That means I have configured my main transaction 1511 without withholding tax versus 1510 with withholding tax. Okay, so you don't see any withholding tax GL being impacted because I have configured in such a way, or your client might say that I would like to pay the withholding tax while payment. So there are two options. You can post the withholding tax during invoices or during payment. So here I am going to post the withholding tax during payment only. So you don't see, if you go to the overview, simple entry, this sales revenue, or it's actually purchase account it should be, or purchase or COGS account debit and vendor account credit. Okay, no withholding tax. So only the withholding tax details are stored in one of the main transaction, one of the transaction, which is this one, but for the other there is no withholding tax. Now when I make the outgoing payment, this withholding tax information which is stored in the invoice will be used to post the withholding tax. Okay, now let's make the payment. So I'm going to pay using payment run FPY1. So copy the document number and go to /show FPY1. Let's copy from one of the existing variant, copy, and I call it outgoing payment 1. All right. So business partner, let me validate whether I need to change any master data. Business partner, contract account, these are fine. Company code is also fine, and my due date is 1901, which is already covered. Okay, in the custom selection I would like to pay my invoice only. Okay, so I am going to replace the existing document with my document. There can be multiple open items in this contract account, but I would like to pay only this particular invoice which has two line item, one has withholding tax, the other one doesn't have any. So save. Bank selection, this is the payment method I am going to use, check payment. All right, things are fine. Now first I would like to run with simulation run. So save, schedule program run. Okay, refresh, it is completed. Now let's go to environment payment list, and here I see it is successful, there is no issue. So simulation is working. Now without simulation let's run it with the update run. So remove simulation, save again, and now schedule program run with the update run. So now it is completed. Let's see the payment document. So this is my payment document. Just double click on the payment document, you will see withholding tax information being stored here. Okay, so my withholding tax amount looks like, so the withholding tax is on this line item. So looks like my withholding tax amount is 10%. So double click on the withholding tax, it will tell you that this is the withholding tax base amount on which this 5%, I mean this $5 was charged. So what is the accounting entry? So this is an outgoing payment. So I can use bank account, but I am using a clearing account. So the accounting entry is vendor account debit. Previously vendor was created by $110. Now vendor is debited by $110, and while payment I am going to pay with bank account 105, and I am not going to pay the entire 110. So I am going to pay 105, and the balance $5 I am going to withhold. That means the vendor is getting only 105, although I should pay 110. So that $5 I am withholding. Later on a particular stipulated date I have to pay back to the government. So here my withholding tax amount is this. How did the withholding tax amount flown from the invoice? Because in the invoice the 50 line capture contained the withholding tax information, but the 60 line did not. That's why withholding tax is charged on this document. Okay. Now let's understand, let's see this document in the DFKK OP screen as OPK screen as well, /o AC16 DFKK OPK. Pass the document number, you will see 2 line item. This second line item is for the withholding tax. Okay, so this is the GL account for withholding tax, and you will see all the details here, and this is my tax base amount. Okay, now let me close this recon key and send it to GL. So the payment document has this is the recon key. If I double click, I see it has already been closed. Okay, so it says that posting can no longer be made. That means the reconciliation key is closed. I cannot add more transaction to this reconciliation key. So all I need to do is to transfer this reconciliation key. So copy /o FPG4, enter the reconciliation key without test run. I am going to execute. Sorry, I need to enter FPG1 because I am going to transfer it. FPG1, close is already done. Okay, so copy, remove the test run and execute. Refresh. So transfer is completed. Okay, now if you want to see the GL document, let's go back to the header and come back, get inside once again, and this is the FICO document. So you might see that there is no controlling document here because all my entries are balance sheet GLs, no profit and loss GL involved. That means there is no cost element. Again, this is an ECC system, so GL and cost elements are separate. So I see this is my accounting entry, that is receivable FICA. So this is actually payable. So accounts payable debit, outgoing bank credit, and withholding tax credit. Now let's see the final scenario, that is at the end of the month the company's liability is to find out what is the total amount of withholding tax collected, and that entire amount the company needs to pay to the government. So let's see what is the total amount of withholding tax the company has collected. So copy the GL account, go to /o FBL3N, enter the withholding tax GL and click on all item, hit F8. So I can see that the company has collected total $12. This $12 company needs to pay to the government. So this is the FI team's lookout to post the $12. Let me show you how the FI team post the $12. So /o FB50 is the T code. Here at the month end, say on 31st March 2023. So it is based on different regulations. So as I told you, in India the regulation, the last date is 7th of April, but in US I don't know. Let's assume that in US month end is the last date within which the entire withholding tax amount needs to be paid. So here they can manually write a text like WHT payment for March. Okay, and so what is my balance? My balance is -12, right? So balance is credit, so I need to debit this GL account. So enter, paste the withholding tax GL account, which is this one. So it has a credit balance. To nullify, I am going to post a debit balance. Okay. So withholding tax debit $12 and bank will be created. Let me use one of the bank account. So let me use, this is the GL account, bank GL account credit, and I hit save. So document date is future, that's fine. So my entry is posted. Now if I go back to my FBL 5N and hit the refresh button, so there is no balance left. So that means all the withholding tax liability is now extinguished. That's how the withholding tax process happens in SAP. So thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more content, do like and subscribe to my channel Debit Credit Nation. We'll see you again with another tutorial video. Thank you so much.